Hi, everybody. Welcome to Bulletproof Underwear, episode 100. I am your co-host, Yamjuice.
And I am your co-host, Flex.
And today, for episode 100, we've got a very special guest, YouTuber, gamer, and just all-around cool southern dude, Drift0r.
Hello, my name is Drift0r. Probably seen my YouTube channel, maybe. If not, that's okay. Doesn't matter. Southerner is a weird one, even though I do live in the South. I try to have a non-regional accent, so I guess it's good that you know.
Well, I grew up in Texas, so your accent is very plain as day to me.
Well, I grew up a lot of places, Texas being one of the more common ones that I'm at, and that's where I'm at now, hanging out in Plano for the moment. Just moved in.
Well, cool. So I grew up in Irving, Texas. That's my hometown.
I used to live there. I lived in Irving, and I lived really close to Beltline Road, which goes to Irving, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
And I remember they had Beltline Station, which was like a kid's place with go-karts and putt-putt golf there. And I went to, I probably shouldn't say the schools that I went to. And I eventually moved out to Las Colinas, if you're familiar with that area.
I know. Las Colinas is where the rich people live.
Yeah, I was among them briefly. It was an interesting experience, but
the salad days.
Say what?
The salad days.
Salad days?
Oh, that's when you're flush.
Flush?
You know, when you're doing good financially, that's the salad days.
Yes, it was good financially. The weird thing about the Las Colinas neighborhood is I just didn't like the people, or especially the kids, because it was all like, it was getting to be that second and third generation money with really, really spoiled kids. So it was really hard to make friends. They were very, very easy to insult, and they had a lot of first generation Indian and Asian families that carried a lot of customs with them. So again, that was very easy to insult or go wrong. Or like, I remember we had a dog, and our Indian neighbor flipped out something about the dog being filthy, and I'm getting kind of racist here, but financially great, but I ended up not liking the neighborhood a whole lot. Well, one of the great things as a kid is they were always building new houses. Like, you know, everybody had to have the bigger mansion than the other guy, and they'd be kind of like a construction pit forever. So me and the friends that I did have, we would steal the plywood and all of their stuff and like go to an area where they were working on the foundation or ground and build like little bike ramps and bike up and down it. And it's probably not legal, but that's what we did.
So what age were you when you were living at Las Colinas? Was it high school or junior high?
Oh, not even that. It was like grade school. Like I'm thinking third, fourth, fifth grade, something like that. I was a pretty little kid, but we still had all those kind of problems. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's where MacArthur High School. That's where the people. I was on the wrong side of the tracks. I was like south of Rock Island, you know, like Nimitz High School.
You're a troublemaker.
Well, Irving, you know, it's a pretty big town. I mean, it's probably couple 100,000 people that live there.
Easily. Most of the places. Oh wait, hat off. Most of the places in the DFW area are like that. To an extent, they're not. None of the cities are really small. If you go further north, there's developing areas, but they'll be pretty big soon.
Yeah. Well, you know, Plano. When I was in college, I drove an ice cream truck for money, and my route was in Plano.
Didn't know that. I saw an old Spanish fellow pushing an ice cream truck today.
Oh, really? One of those little cart thingies?
Yep.
Did you get a push-up from him?
No, he was pushing it down the side of a road that was a little bit too busy to stop from. I do remember, though, I had a grandmother-in-law. I don't know how you do that. Stepfather's mother that lived in Frisco. And even when I was a little kid, maybe 7, 8, 9, we'd go out to Frisco, and it was nothing. There was just nothing there. She lived in this little square-cut area of fairly low-income houses and stuff, and that was about it. And you know, 7 or 8 years later, Dallas caught up, and now Frisco is where all the rich people live, and they've built the hugest mall I've ever seen in my life out there, and it's fast how things move here.
Wow, I didn't even know there was such a place as Frisco.
See?
Well, I haven't lived there since 1984, so.
Oh yeah, maybe okay, that makes sense then. Sorry.
All right, so let me just give you a little bit of background between me and Flex. We are old ass gamers. Old.
Okay. Old. Very old.
I'm 55.
And I'm 47, so in gaming years, that makes me 150.
I feel you. I'm 27, and I really feel like I'm like 60 in gaming years. Just
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm actually old enough to be most of my opponent's grandpa. Actual grandpa.
You'd be surprised that no, I think you'd be surprised at how many older gamers there are out there.
There are quite a few. I mean, it's I've got a few on my list, but yeah, there are a lot of people, a lot of older people that do game.
Well, we're kind of in a group of gamers that a lot of them are older. I mean, we've got one guy who's 68.
Yeah,
And he
from the
plays-
UK. From the UK.
Yeah, he plays Call of Duty and Battlefield, man.
Every
My
day.
wife would say that's not old. She worked in nursing for a long time, rehab and med surge, so it's taking care of old folks and injured folks. So my wife doesn't consider people old until they're 80. Like, if you're under 75 and you don't know how to use a computer, you're just dumb. You're not behind the times. You're just dumb. Like, she says the new old is 80 plus, so you guys are still doing fine.
Yeah,
All right.
my mom is 87, and she's on Facebook.
Oh, God.
Kind of proud of her.
She was on the show. We had her on the show.
Yeah, she was a guest on the show. You know why?
Why?
She wrote a children's book, and she came on the show to plug it.
Yeah.
Wow. I wish my grandmother's 86. I wish I could say she's doing it that well, but unfortunately the dementia's setting in.
Yeah. We both saw your video.
Yeah.
So sorry about that. I mean,
It happens.
I went through that myself with my grandmother.
well, at least she's still alive.
Oh yeah, she's still alive, which is sad because physically, like, very robust, but mentally we're on the decline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my mom is 87, and she's mentally okay, but I mean, she walks really stooped over, and she has one of those little push roller cart thingies, and she can't go very far without having to stop and take a rest. So physically, she's pretty bad shape, but mentally, she's still got it.
Sharp as a tack.
Well, I don't know if
Good.
she's sharp as a tack. She's slowing down a little bit. I mean, you know, look in the crystal ball. That's all of our fate.
Does she click on the pop-up ads?
No, she's
Good.
smart enough not to do that.
That's my litmus test for, we'll say, people that I would talk to. if it's like, if it pops up, it's like, Microsoft Security Center, your computer needs to be scanned. Install totally not a virus.exe. It's like, Or I feel a little bit bad on the podcast. My dad does this every time there's a computer error. No matter what it says, he doesn't read it. He just clicks OK. Just whatever.
Oh, no.
So
Yeah.
every
yeah.
time I come back home, it's something, or he's like, yeah, it had this error. And I'm like, what'd it say? Oh, it said something about press OK to use your computer normally. And I'm like, Dad, that's not what it said. He's like, okay, I didn't read it.
So do you ever have to do a hard drive wipe on him or anything like that?
A time or two. He's getting a lot better with it. He only uses the computer for things that he likes. Not got a great thirst for like knowledge, but he likes his sporting websites and betting and gambling and YouTube, surprisingly, looking up silly videos. So he knows how to do the things that he likes to do very well. But when it comes to just general knowledge, it's not interesting. Like, if it's not about NASCAR, he's really not interested, and I have to do most of the other stuff.
Right. Well, see, everybody needs a guru. My guru is my sister, and I suppose even the gurus need a guru when they get in trouble.
Everybody. Yeah, it is gurus all the way down.
At the very, very, very top is Bill Gates, and he's like, okay, did you try rebooting it?
Yeah. Control Alt Delete.
No, there was a. Did you see? They did a show a couple years ago, and they had the guy that invented the blue screen of death, and he talked about how it developed. And Bill Gates was there, and they introduced him as like, yes, this is Bill or like Dave so and so that popularized that invented the blue screen of death. And he's like, oh no, you give me too much credit. I invented it. Bill over here made it popular.
Do you remember when they were showing off the USB? Bill Gates was on some stage, and he had a computer, and it was like he had one of those giant screens behind him. It's like, this is the new USB. It'll revolutionize everything. He stuck it in, blue screen.
I actually didn't see that one. That one was a little bit before my interest in computers. I wasn't permitted to computer until a little bit later on, but I caught up.
My favorite was 2600 Com, the magazine. there was a trade show in Vegas, and they showed the picture of it on the big screen out in front of the theater. It was blue screened.
Yeah. Or there's that. Who will ever need more than 128K memory or something like that?
Yeah, for sure. It's inconceivable. Yeah. So you didn't start computing till later. So let's talk about your video game history. So when did you become a video game dude?
As long as I can remember. At some point before my proper memory began, my mother or father, I don't know which, bought me the Nintendo Entertainment System. I was a little bit like the old Ataris, and like the Intellivisions were around, but they were a little bit older. And the NES, not the Super NES, but the old NES with the square, totally not ergonomic controller with A and B buttons.
Horrible.
Yeah,
buttons.
When you had little kids' hands, they weren't as bad. That was just coming out, so I got one of those. So as long as I can remember, I've always had it, and I played. I actually had a lot of games for it, but you know those games, they didn't always work quite right. Played the crap out of Mario, and I had some bad ones. I guess they weren't that in a kid's mind. They were great. Ghostbusters 2, the video game. Home Alone, the video game. Something Asian I can't even pronounce. I don't think it was translated right. And then from there,
those popular movie tie-in games are always the best.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
E.T. Look at what a great hit E.T. was.
Thankfully, they weren't that bad. Moving on from there, I got to play like Sega and Super NES at my other friends' houses, but I didn't have like a whole lot of money, so I never got those. My grandparents did swing an N64 one Christmas, so I got into that. And then eventually we got onto computer, and as soon as I got computer, I was doing multiplayer past, the GoldenEye and Mario Kart stuff. But I started doing Rogue Spear with a friend of mine. He got me doing Rogue Spear online. I tried to do Command and Conquer, but I had 56K, so my lag was really, really hell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Did a lot of different games. Not really... I was not a hardcore gamer. I did games and other things, but I just kept on gaming. Xbox Live is where it really started for me because it was very convenient and it just kind of had all you need in the package. And I started clanning pretty hard and working with my clan and trying to build it up. And I just kept on and kept on. The clan kind of fettered out around college. But about that time, I got into making machinimas, kind of like Red vs. Blue, but crappier, honestly. And that turned into commentary, and it eventually started paying money, and I just kept on doing it. And I ended up getting 2 college degrees, but when it came time to apply for jobs, I realized that I was making similar amounts of money just playing video games and having a lot more fun than I would be making the same amount of money at a desk job.
Well, yeah, hell. Well, plus you've always got those degrees. I mean,
yes.
You've always got those degrees. Let's say YouTube, goes south in a few years or something. You'll always be an engineer.
Yes.
Now, were you always a real analytical type when you were a kid?
No, I was diagnosed with a dozen different learning disabilities. That might be because my mom was one of those moms, like her kids had to be special and they had to have all these things. I was generally just a crappy kid. I thought reading was stupid and gay, so I didn't learn to read. And math was for people that are too dumb to use a calculator. So I really didn't learn very much until like second grade or third grade when it mattered, I guess. And at some point, it just really took to me, and I caught up really fast, and I stayed ahead of the curve.
So you were good at like science and stuff like that, and math?
Yeah, I mean, math was one of the things I was always pretty good at, except fractions, which is kind of funny because I moved so much, I never properly learned them. I moved so often and skipped school so much that I didn't know how to fractions. I would always convert my fractions into decimals, work decimal problems, and then convert back.
So there's just holes that you didn't know.
I never learned English grammar. I don't know English grammar. Everything I know about speaking and writing is replication of what I've seen on TV and heard other people hear. I don't know the rules, which was really awful because I transferred from public school to a private high school. It was like a college preparatory academy, and we started off with all of these grammar rules. And I was like, what is an adverb? What is a noun? What are these things? What do they mean?
Diagram sentences.
Yeah, that kind of stuff, except I'd never heard of any of it. So I was trying really hard to do like guesswork and put it where it sounded right, and the teachers hated it. And I never could explain to them that this is just something that I'd never learned, and they never really taught it. So, I mean, I learned some things, of course, but it's not like one of those fundamental parts of the education that people have. I think about speaking very, very differently.
Yeah, yeah. So in college, you were like heavy in clans and stuff. Were you a big giant Call of Duty guy from the get go?
No, I didn't. I played COD 2. I think I actually played Medal of Honor at one point, which I assumed would be just like COD 2. But it wasn't a big deal for me. I was into other things. I actually played Dota back when it was relatively new. When it was a Warcraft mod for, what is it? Warcraft 3, the Frozen Throne. Had to remember that one, the expansion pack. And I lost track of the question. Where are we here?
So were you a Call of Duty guy from the get go?
Oh no, COD 2 was the first game I played on Xbox 360, and I played a lot of Halo. I was big into Halo clanning, clan battles in Halo. And a friend of mine got COD 4, and he said this is the best game ever. And I ignored him, and my friends started playing it, saying this was the best game ever. I ignored him. And I finally went to his house, and I sat down and I played COD 4 on his Xbox, on his TV. And playing COD 4 was one of the most refreshing experiences that I've ever had. It was awesome. It was just so great. I went out and bought it that very night, and I kept on playing Call of Duty. It replaced Halo. I tried to clan in COD. It didn't work out, so I played casually. And then eventually I started the in-depth show and some other things, so I really, really stuck with Call of Duty, which I guess was a good one to stick with.
Yeah. Now, see, here's what I'm hoping that you'll say, that when you first started playing Call of Duty, you were terrible. You had a way sub, 1 KD, and then later, you got better. I'd like to hear that you were terrible.
No, I hung around a 1. I had some good games, had some bad ones. Wasn't terrible. I was a really like moral and strict gamer. I would never use the overpowered class setups. I honestly didn't have too many of them that were considered good. I always liked self-handicapping or never putting myself at the advantage, because it never really felt great to win with the best gun and the best of everything. It's like, well you're supposed to win. Like, if you don't, that means you're really bad. So I was always doing goofy stuff. I mean, you see on my channel, it's 80% goofy stuff. Yeah, 80% goofy stuff. Personally, I think akimbo scorpions are actually a great weapon if you've ever used them. You would be surprised at what they can do. And it was funny, I played Black Ops 2 the other day, and I used akimbo TAC 45 and single TAC 45, and I was getting like 2.0, 2.5 KDs, and then I went back to trying to use an actual submachine gun or rifle, couldn't do it.
Really?
I just forgot how to do everything but akimbo, but I can akimbo like nobody's business.
Yeah, I've seen that. We've seen just about all of your videos. We're big fans. Okay.
I've seen a lot of them.
Somebody put a link to one of your videos in a forum I was reading back in 2011, and you were nowhere near as big as you are now. You were like, you were a significant channel, but you were like, I don't know, 20,000 subscribers or something like that, maybe 40,000. I don't know.
Ooh, what's the number now?
640.
Wow.
So when did you blow up?
Blow up, honestly, last year sometime. MW3 went pretty well, and then Black Ops went amazing, and it took off. And I was really not a popular person until then. It still feels weird to say that you're popular or you have followers or whatever, but I was always on the receiving end of bad luck for the longest time. Like, I was one of the original Machinima Respawn directors, like when they had Hutch and Sark and Sean Anders and that. I was in that first group, and I was doing in-depth videos, and they get like 400,000 views, every single one. But I was not allowed to post or have anything on my own channel, really. Machinima kept telling me that it was illegal and that I couldn't do it like everybody else, and I didn't think much of it. I was like, so what? It's not a big deal. This isn't going to last long anyway. And then eventually, like long after that crazy COD 4 and MW2 bubble had passed, I was allowed to post on my channel. And that's after everybody else was super popular, and here I am with like 250 subscribers. So pretty far behind on that game. And just some hits and misses, and it's very hard to gain traction. But usually it snowballs. Unfortunately for Ghost, it slowed down a lot. I went from gaining a whole lot of subscribers every day to just some every day with Ghost. I don't know if it's... I'd like to blame the game and just say it's less popular. Maybe my content, maybe it's competition, maybe I'm getting stale. I don't really... These are the things that I have to worry about at night since it's my job and all, but...
Right. Right. Well, you want to know what I think is that Call of Duty Ghosts is just... All of the people I know who played it don't play it anymore.
Yes, which is funny because there were some people that dipped out in MW3. Not a lot, but some. I actually didn't like MW3. And there were a good many people that dipped out in Black Ops 2. My chair was low. That's what was wrong. That's why I was adjusting my camera.
I did.
And but Ghost has been brutal for the Call of Duty scene. Just so many people don't watch it. I have one of the more popular comments on my videos, "Hey Drift0r, I like your videos. I watch them anyway, but I don't do Ghost. Can you play something different?"
Yeah.
And even though when I play other games, it's kind of there are people that'll watch that and then not Call of Duty, and then Call of Duty and not the other stuff. But I can't get back on the same like game that pleases everybody. So I'm hoping that Advanced Warfare or Evolve or Destiny or something will be the next big thing. That'll make my life a lot easier.
So next big thing, everybody's putting up YouTube videos about Watch Dogs. Did you get that game?
I decided to pass. I was going to download on PlayStation 4, and I wanted, but I was so busy, and then it was like a day or two after it came out, which I guess is now, and I was just thinking, I'm just going to pass on this one. I'm going to keep my $60. I really wanted to get Wolfenstein as well, but I just had to decide to pass. Trying really hard to save money right now because I've got a lot of travel in my future, not all of which is paid, unfortunately. So I'm just trying to do the frugal decision, play cheap games, play free games, save my money. We don't even run the air conditioner too much here. And it's one of those, like, growing up poor, it's kind of weird. Like, I look at the bank account, and there's zeros in there, the likes of which I've not had for like 95% of my life. But I don't have a certain future. Like, that's the thing about YouTube and everything. Your future is not guaranteed. So I really believe in saving and not spending when I don't need to. And since I'm used to a very low standard of living, just not buying games or things that would drive people crazy, like no lights in the house, or, we run AC only during the day and stuff like that, open windows at night.
So you're scrimping on AC and a $60 game, and meanwhile you're flush. You got the salad days all over again.
No. I do other things. I spent $40 on beer and soda today. Even though the beer was for my wife, I bought like hipster soda and stuff. So there's little splurges, but in general, we're cutting back. Just we went pretty crazy. So last year, which I guess is actually 18 months ago, which still feels like last year in my head because it was so crazy. I had almost $0 to my name. I had $200 in my bank account, and that was it. And I had just moved into a new city, and we had bills to pay, and I had nothing. Which 200's a lot to some people maybe listening, but in grown-up dollars, 200 doesn't go very far when you have bills to pay.
Well, did you consider maybe sidelining as a gigolo?
Funny story about that. When we were looking for places to live in the area, the real estate's pretty competitive, and they didn't allow you to move in unless you already had a job. And even when I offered to prepay the whole lease up front, which is one of the reasons I didn't have any money left at the end of it, a lot of people said no, and I had to list my job and then try to explain YouTube and gaming. And I tried other stuff like internet entertainer, and they assumed that I was a porn star and that I would use the house for porn, so I didn't get it. Yeah. But anyway, so I went from...
He's turning it into the Simi Valley.
I've been there. I had nothing, and for January, pretty much zero. Well, we had the 200 was for food. Up until from January to June, and then I bought the house that I'm in June, and then we fully furnished it and renovated and all this other stuff and traveled all over the country and spent more money than I ever should have and had the craziest year of my life. And this year, the money has not been as crazy as last year. So I'm like, whoa, let's get back to the reality. Let's get back to the real world. Let's build some savings, invest, be stable, and not stupid things. So we're just cutting back to the way we grew. I mean, my wife grew up eating raccoons and possums. Well, they killed the possum. Eat the raccoons. Raccoon a little chewy, stuff like that. So,
possums, like Granny on Beverly Hillbillies possum pie.
Yeah, stuff like that. So, wow. Going back to just simple cost-saving measures that most people would think are extreme, I'm totally comfortable.
Well, I mean, that's not a bad way to live. Warren Buffett has been, from time to time, the richest person in the world, and he's still one of the top richest people in the world. He lives in this house in Omaha that his like...
It's a normal house.
It's a normal house. It's probably like your house.
Or mine.
And he could afford to buy 100 Donald Trumps.
And he drives himself too. Donald Trump's got a lot of debt.
Yeah. Donald Trump is always whenever Forbes has like their richest people, he's always lobbying them to put him higher. He's always on the phone.
Yeah, I don't even know if he makes the list. I thought he was overfinanced.
Yeah, it's all over. It's all on paper, man.
Well, nobody who's ever done business with him has ever made any money.
I wouldn't. I really wouldn't.
Yeah,
You're fired. You know, he tried to copyright that expression. You're fired.
That's so dumb.
That's lame. That's like then Windows tried to copyright Windows.
Right. I'm working on. I want to copyright the expression "pass the salt."
That's a popular one in gaming. Or no, what is that King company? They did copyright the word candy in all mobile games, but they've got people suing them out the butt about it now.
Yeah, I mean candy. I mean, come on.
I
think they also copyrighted Crush.
Probably,
but not to. They have their Candy Crush, and then they have Candy and Crush.
You know who tries to sue people for using the name Monster Cable, the Monster Cable Company, which brings me to a point.
Yes, these guys.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
I don't have mine. I don't got nothing.
Where's the fridge? Where's the fridge? It's not on. You
Downstairs.
Didn't turn the sign on.
Well, I'm not live streaming. Besides, it's kind of bright green. The fridge is downstairs.
So yeah. In honor of you,
I went with the recommended flavor, and it is good.
Thank you.
I enjoy it.
Let's see. I've got the Energy Zero Ultra, which is diet, but I like diet. That's what I drink.
I don't normally like diet, but both of those are diet. They were a little better than I expected. Like for a diet drink, that's good. It fools me for a while. I have to think about it before I oh yeah, now I know where that. But it's quality stuff. Although I've also moved. I've changed. So since I made that video, I've decided that I like Ultra Red better than Ultra Blue.
Oh no, Flex! You got the wrong soda.
Nobody knows, but it's really close. They're still really good. So the funny thing about being sponsored by them is everybody believes that I bathe in Monster Energy just like with G Fuel and other stuff. And the reality is that I hope I'm not insulting you if this is your lifestyle. I don't drink them too often. They're really advertised as being more like a soda, like you just pound them. But I know that's bad for you. I drink them when it's 2 in the morning and I realize my plane leaves for LA at 10 tomorrow and I've got 5 videos to make between now and then. Like sleep is not an option. So it's one every couple weeks, 2 a month, something like that. Take it
like it's a medication.
Exactly. And it's when I need it, it's there and it's useful, but I don't just pound them all the time. Well, though you may see me doing that at the X Games because Monster got me VIP tickets, so it's probably just going to be like, oh God, no more Monster.
A Monster in your hand constantly. So the X Games, that's in Austin, fucking Texas.
Yep. Which means I'm driving.
Yay! No plane trip.
All right.
Thank God. Yeah.
So what do you think? Call of Duty is like hit the big time competitive.
Maybe. It's not. League of Legends is where the big time competitive is. Much bigger time.
Well, yeah, it is.
Really?
It is.
Oh yeah, League is
huge.
At least 25, if not 50 or 100 times bigger than Call of Duty.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, if you just look at Twitch, I mean, without fail, the #1 game every time I've ever looked at Twitch has been League.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
I mean,
every great now and then a brand new game or a world championship and something else will bump them down, but it's like for a couple hours tops.
Yeah, it's huge. So you play the game. I was watching your live stream the other day, and it's like, what a confusing bunch of stuff going on.
Okay, it looks really confusing to the outside observer, and this is what's funny, is that the game I talked about playing on the computer, Dota, in Warcraft 3, it was created as a mod for Warcraft 3, which is a real-time strategy game, like Command and Conquer. You click your units from above and tell them where to go and what to do, like you're a god looking down, kind of, or general on the satellite. And it was sort of in between tower defense, and these games had special units that were stronger than the others, and if you lived longer, they were heroes, and they'd get a little stronger as they went and something. And they made this mod, so I played it, and I just quit at one point. And I saw League of Legends, and it looked really confusing because I was watching pros play, which is really just crazy stuff. And a friend of mine, Pwn Star, convinced me to play it. And as soon as I loaded up, I realized this is just like Dota. This is the same game. Come to find out, Dota was made by 2 people, and they had a falling out. One of them made Dota 2 with Blizzard, and the other one made League of Legends free to play. But they're the hardcore trolls will hate me, but they really are essentially the same game. Slightly,
oh no, you didn't.
Slightly different design paths, but if you can play one, you can play the other. And so I took to League of Legends like a fish to water. It's basically you get 5 characters. You can only play as one person, and your goal is to push all the way across the map to the enemy and kill their base. You kill their big, like their castle, their base, their fountain, whatever you want to call it.
But I saw like all these millions of little minions fighting each other.
So the map is perfectly symmetrical. You've got a couple of towers that defend on the way. Pretty general paths to walk through, and the base or whatever spawns these little guys that come out, and they're fairly weak, but enough of them can hurt you if you're not paying attention. And they'll march toward each other, and it's perfectly mathematically even, so they cancel each other out. And part of what you're doing, controlling your 5 people, is to move the tide of battle such that your little guys can march all the way across the map and take the towers and then move in on the base and all that sort of stuff.
Right. So you were playing with a character that I guess you had never played with, Riven, something?
Yes. Oh my God.
Sounds like some serious strategy involved.
She looked like a hot chick.
Most of the characters are. There are very few, let's say, ugly females. Very, very, very few. They're all like pretty girls and stuff, usually not anatomically correct. Not a lot of female tanks either.
Well, in Los Angeles, maybe they'd be anatomically correct.
Yeah. I was having a hard time because Riven was one of the best characters in the game, but she was so good they nerfed her. They made her weaker so that she starts off really kind of weak, but later on gets stronger. And I hadn't played her before, and I was trying to learn. And every single time I got matched up against a person that was just a god at the game, or they had the perfect counter character for me, or they were a troll and they had their friends trolling me. So just it was those 3 games, and then even some before that I wasn't streaming. Just constantly getting the worst matchup and the worst trolls I could get, like IEDs and danger close.
I was seeing you and J-Hub and another friend getting your ass kicked a few times.
Yeah, so it was rough. It was really rough. I've actually been on a winning streak. Let's hope that continues, using other champions, but trying to learn that one's been really difficult for me. She's also very difficult in general. It's not kind of like the World of Warcraft people hate it, but it's got like macro buttons, and you hit like one button, it does like 5 different spells and things. And
right.
League, almost everything is skill based. Like you have to aim all of those things and time them within maybe 1 frame, 2 frames, so 1/60th, 2/60th of a second, and it's a fairly skill based thing, which again attracted me. And it's also easy to screw up, so I was screwing up.
Yeah. If a brand new person, it's a team game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't go in with a buddy or a pal, you're just going to be playing like with randoms, just like Call of Duty, right?
Yes. You can go in and play with total randoms, but there's also a ranked mode. You have to hit level 30, which is like a 4-month, 5-month journey before you're allowed to play ranked. And then when you play ranked, it matches you with people of equal skill level based on ELO, same as the chess ELO system, if you're familiar with that one. And it's like it gives you a point number, and let's say that you're like the best chess player in the world, and you beat 10 awful people, you get a few points up. You beat them, so what? If one of those awful people beats you, they're rated low, and they just beat the best person in the world. They just like spike in ELO. They're like their rating and their number goes up, and yours goes way down. But when you're matched against people that are relatively close to you. But if you get unbalanced teams, let's say you're playing a good team and you beat them, your status gets elevated a lot, whereas if they lose, theirs goes down a lot, if that makes sense.
Right.
So it tries to match you
with
equal
NCAA and stuff.
Yes. So it tries to match you with equally skilled people. Unfortunately, when you're dealing with like 65 million players monthly, and millions ranked, even people that are supposed to be of a decent skill are not always there. They slip through the cracks, and it can get really bad if one person on your team is trolling or dumb, or if they quit or something like that.
But that's okay. They're probably very, very sweet about people who are screwing up. They probably don't even give you any guff at all.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's how that works.
No, I heard that League is. It's a toilet, is what I've heard. It's like they're mean.
Yes, because it's the League of Legends scene is dominated by the pro players. Like Call of Duty is really still more about public matches and stuff than competitive play and being great. League from day one was treated as a very competitive game. And the most popular people recognizable are the professional players. The professional players make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. They have whole colleges and institutions and stuff in China and Korea on how to play this game. And their ranking system, by the default of it, really encourages competitive play, which also encourages douchebaggery. And if you somehow make it to the top of this ranking system, I can guarantee you that you're going to get picked up to play on a pro team. Like if you just played League and you won enough, you'd get offered to join a pro team. If you get high enough in their in-game rankings, there are even pros that aren't good enough in their in-game ranking system, like normal guys that beat them out and then get picked up. So, and there are people that are really chasing that dream, and they get really, really angry if you're messing up.
Right. So is there like call-outs and is like teamwork?
Yes. Because it takes too long to type, they put in a bunch of little shortcuts. You can hit 2 different kinds of warning. One is you should fall back, one is danger. There's a please assist me, there's an attack this person, there's a defend this tower, and there's a general like ping a location, like let's all go here. So you see these little, it plays a little, and they call them pings, a little ping noise, like a little, I can't make it with my mouth. I wanted to go boop or beep, but it's not annoying like that. It's a little bit softer, and they show up on the map. So it's to warn people of things like a bad guy's coming, or we need to go all in on this right now, and it works fairly well.
Wow. So I don't think I'm gonna try League of Legends because I'm not a PC kind of guy. I've got a really good PC though. The one I'm talking to you on right now is a MSI gaming laptop.
Ah, I have one of those.
Yeah, we saw your review. Now yours is newer than mine. I got mine about a year or two earlier than yours, so I don't have a solid state drive.
That's
damn.
Mine's limited by Windows 8. I like everything about it but Windows 8. I keep telling myself one of these days I'm going to put Windows 7 on it.
What were they thinking?
Windows 8 is fucked up, man.
I agree. It was a review laptop, and I really wanted Windows 7, and the guy that was getting me to review it is like, yeah, well, Microsoft really wants us to do this, and, you're here to review stuff. You should not be an old man. You should try something new and tell us what you think. And what I think is it sucks. I wish I had Windows 7. Oh, it's so frustrating.
Yeah, but probably there'll be software that'll require Windows 8, and then you'll be probably set.
That's what they said about Vista.
Yeah. That's just what I was going to say.
So what's the deal? Every other operating system, it's like
that's what
8
they
sucked,
say.
7 was good, Vista sucked, XP was good, ME maybe the worst.
I had ME. It was awful.
So
it had more holes in it than a piece of Swiss cheese, man.
Like every other. Well, we already know that Microsoft never makes a misstep or a flub.
God.
No.
So you know what? The other week when they announced the Connectless Xbox, I'm thinking, you lying bastards! You fucking straight up said to everyone's face, no. We're the Kinect is the Xbox. Yeah, no way. We're not going to separate them.
Well, you got to look back to the presentation where they were ramming, everything down everybody's throat that you wouldn't be able to do this and that, and then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, they were totally reverse and turn tide, and all these things are going to happen now because
Sony. They took Sony. Sony gave them the shaft so bad, now I talked to people at E3 on both sides of this aisle. Depending on who you ask, it was either a brilliant decision or the most asshole thing to do. None of this is confirmed, and it's not on record. Like I can't say who from, and it's all rumor here. But supposedly, up until like a week or two before E3, Sony was going to have a very similar DRM system. It wasn't exactly like Microsoft's, but it was some sort of you install the game and well that's it, you're done. They were going to have less RAM and less of, I think about it front bus, just some other spec that I forget at this point. And they were also they were considering including the camera, but it wasn't a for sure deal. And then Microsoft came out first with their announcement and their DRM and their requiring of the Kinect and the price. And at the same time, China got in a new supply of, I forget which material makes the RAM, and Sony got a better deal. Microsoft had locked in their contract, and Sony had waited, and they got a better deal. And they saw the feedback against the camera and against the DRM, so they totally bullshitted and said that they got rid of, that there was no DRM to begin with, when in reality they were like reverse engineering it, like pulling it out, and they scrapped they scrapped the camera,
yanking all that shit out.
Made it an accessory, and instead of something that came with, which I have my little PlayStation camera. It's not as good as a Kinect, but it's not bad.
Well, you can't kick little aliens around the room.
Yeah, and it was supposed to come with a decent headset, like a PlayStation Chat communicator headset, but it was still just, they couldn't hit that $399, so they scrapped it, and they included that tiny little inline mic thing. That's
I have it. I call it the cat toy.
Yeah, it sucks. It really sucks.
I've seen like, you know, those little kiosks that sell them for 99 cents. It looks like that.
It's the same thing, but a little, Sony branded. So what Sony managed to do is drop their price of their product $100, which we all know from marketing, price is really the most important thing. Huge deal, especially for Christmas time. They managed to secure their RAM later, which meant that they could do slightly, well, depending on who you ask, better hardware. They didn't have the camera, and they pushed this really, really hard. Like, so everybody hated the Microsoft, we are TV, we are entertainment. They're like, no, we're gamers. We're gamers. Like, this is how you share a game. You hand it to your friend. Yeah, they did it. And you could see like the smug, shit-eating grins on their faces when they were making those commercials.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the Microsoft guys hated it. And I heard stuff from the Microsoft camp that the DRM, now this supposedly was not supposed to be about control. It was supposed to kind of put GameStop out of business so that they couldn't monopolize these trade-in games and demand pre-orders and crap like that. And like, get rid of the physical disc, because when there's no, I'm trying to look for a disc. When there's no disc, we could just launch a game at $39.99 or $49.99, and you could trade your digital games like the Steam marketplace. And it could have been all these things, but that's what they're saying. Then again, it could have just been like, this game is $70, deal with it.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
absolutely.
I don't know. I bought Ghost online, so anytime I want to play on my Xbox One, I can just click it and play. But I bought Titanfall on a disc. So now if I want to play Titanfall, I got to, where's that disc,
Yeah, but you could take your disc back, but you could sell your disc if you wanted to.
That's true. That's true. So I don't know. Eventually they are going to squeeze, GameStop and those guys out of it, and Walmart and Target.
Definitely.
Well, I really feel like those are antiquated business models in this age, unfortunately. The physical disc is really useful only to people that are traveling, or they've got like deployed overseas, or like the nuclear submarine guy. Yeah, he needs that. And that's the simple way you solve that is to allow a relatively straightforward offline mode. But unfortunately, when you allow offline modes, you also way increase the amount of piracy, so companies don't want to do that. It's kind of a cat and mouse game. Or chicken and egg. I don't know what the proper expression is.
How about cat and egg?
Okay.
I'll take that.
Yeah. So, so I saw that you had got an opportunity to play that game Evolve, right?
Yes.
Oh my God, I am such a giant Left 4 Dead fan. That's what got me into first-person shooters in the beginning, was the first Left 4 Dead, and then I got the second one. It's like, oh my God, I love this game. And like, where's Left 4 Dead 3?
You're gonna like Evolve. I played it at PAX. It was running on a PC, and I was using an Xbox 360 controller hooked up to the PC, and it was like a dev. It didn't even have options. Like, I asked to invert the controller, and he had to open up the options panel, like type in / whatever, and stuff like that. But the game was a lot like Left 4 Dead. Maybe they were really pushing this competitive thing, so I guess it was more competitive. I played as the monster. I really wish I was allowed to record my gameplay, but I wasn't. And it looked really good. Now, it wasn't the most beautiful, graphically advanced, but it had a kind of aesthetic, kind of like Left 4 Dead. It wasn't perfect, but it was, a little cartoony and stuff. The monster was really fun to play as, but it was really hard because you start off as a little monster and you're weak, and these 4 people come at you hard, and they don't fuck about. And I had to run for a long time and just eat and survive and eat and survive. And eventually I was a level 2 monster. And you have to, when you grow, you have to find somewhere to hide and like mutate. And you have a guy that's a tracker. He's hunting you. No, trapper. I think he can see you. And I just had to keep surviving for a long, long time. And they were hunting me. They had the medic, the heavy, the assault, trapper, and engineer, and they all did different stuff, which they all synergized pretty well. We had a guy that shield, guy that heals, a guy that does damage, and the trapper was by far the most annoying. He had like these electricity bolts that would slow me down, and he could just slam this thing on the ground that was a giant force field cage and kind of force a fight like there's no escape. You have to fight us now. But I survived until 3, and I got big. And once I got big, there's a secondary objective to where I can either completely destroy their escape from the planet, or they can repair it and leave, and either way they win or, you know, lose. And I went toward it, and I noticed that they had just started to repair it. And because I'm huge, it's actually advantageous for me to fight inside. You'd think that outside would be the place, but when they're in like little corridors, you can just barrel through there and smash them. They're repairing. So I jumped in from the top, and it was like a rumble in a basketball court. There were very few places to hide, relatively limited movement in there. And they threw everything they had at me, but it was no good. I was too fed and destroyed them. The monster handled a little bit funny. There was a delay on everything I did, which I didn't like, and it took some time to get used to, and it was frustrating. And I talked to the developer, and he said 2 reasons. Number one, they want my motions to be visible, so like I pick up a big rock to throw it, and because there's lag and because they need the other people to react, like they want them to be able to see me doing this and be able to do something about it instead of just done. Or like when I go to punch them, I'm a 20-foot tall monster. I need to rear back and, you know, come in so that there's a counter for this instead of just smack. And he said there were other monsters that were faster and more responsive, but they had less health and they were balanced differently for the lag. And I had a great time. I really enjoyed the game. I don't want to do anything but play the monster. I don't want to be the people at all, but I guess I'll have to be. It was very good.
Did you spend much time playing Left 4 Dead?
Yes, I played Left 4 Dead 1 and 2. I liked both of them. I didn't do very much of the DLC on either, but I've done my fair share of Left 4 Dead time, yes.
Yeah, so when you're the monster, it sounds to me like when you're playing Versus and you get to be the tank.
I was going to say that.
Throw concrete, or you can punch them.
But it's not like an insta-punch. There's a little wind-up to it. It's a lot like that.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be a big game, but is it going to be a big YouTube game?
I hope so. I think it'll be more of like I don't think it'll be as competitive as they want it to be, but I think it'll be a really good, like, fun YouTube game. Like, get your buddies in there and play this and something like that. Yes, it'll be really good like that.
Yeah, so all these announcements have leaked. Now, did you see today, just today, I saw this morning, actual gameplay of the new Battlefield, what's it called? Hardline.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, they took it down.
They yanked it.
Yeah, is that a new game or the DLC?
Okay, so we're going to break this to you. It's like the newest Battlefield game is going to be announced at E3. It's going to be Battlefield Hardline.
It's a new game.
It's a new game.
Ouch.
And it is going to be cops and robbers.
Swear to God.
I fucking shit you not.
I mean,
cops and robbers.
Like actual police and criminals.
Police and criminals.
Okay.
They leaked it. All the vehicles are like SUV police vehicles.
They have some helicopters.
Choppers, a couple choppers.
Motorcycles. But it's going to be cops and robbers. Absolutely. Instead of, usually they would alternate with Battlefield with like Medal of Honor, but they can't Medal of Honor. Warfighter.
And Battlefield 4, unfortunately, was a financial failure.
Was it? I thought they sold a lot of copies.
Yeah, but I don't know if you remember, they called it Broken Field 4 because of how buggy it was.
I have a ton of friends who play it. I don't play it.
I play it, and it's one of the most frustrating games I've ever played in my life.
Yes, which when it works, it's so fun when it works.
It is.
When it doesn't, it doesn't. EA got sued by a group of investors. Like, the investors said that they were misled on the development status of the game. So they did a class action lawsuit against E3 over the broken game. And it also happened, it was so bad that it was broken on... I had it on PlayStation 4 when it first came out. And it just did not work for about 2 weeks. About after 2 weeks, it got to it worked, kinda, and now it actually works most of the time. But I've so far quit playing it because it was so frustrating. But people on Xbox One, it was a little bit worse. It was 3 weeks, almost a month, and people bought these collector's editions and DLC and season pass, and the game was so frustrating they'd return it to the store, or they would call Microsoft and they'd do a chargeback and they would cancel the DLC. And what happened is that DICE had to decide to delay all future DLC in order to do bug fixes, and that caused the company to not be able to promise on its deliverables of giving DLC, which is a revenue stream to investors, and they got sued.
Wow. Well, I know that there's such a thing as goodwill, and they fucked all the goodwill that they had. I mean,
same with Ghost.
Yeah, they did.
Exactly.
All the goodwill is gone on the big two games, the Battlefield and Ghost. They're out of the Call of Duty. They're completely out of goodwill.
Right. Well, I have a theory that goodwill thing is like Modern Warfare 3 was the biggest selling of all the Call of Duties. If you look at the numbers, I don't remember how many they sold, but that is the highest selling units. And it wasn't because Modern Warfare 3 was such a goddamn good game. Black Ops, that's my theory, is people liked Black Ops and said, you know what, I'm going to get the next game, and it was Modern Warfare 3.
MW3 sold slightly better than Black Ops 1. Like, there was a good jump from MW2 to Black Ops 1. I think that was how that went, yeah. But the jump from Black Ops 1 to MW3 was just a little bump, just a little bit more. MW3 had development problems because that's when Infinity Ward split, and they were left with 8 months to finish a game instead of 2 years. So personally for me, MW3 is my least favorite Call of Duty game out of all of them. A lot of people bag on Ghost. I'd play Ghost over MW3 any day. I really don't like MW3.
Yeah.
But that game suffered, and that hurt the COD name. And then we had Black Ops 2, which was, I would say, divisive. I really thought it was a great game, but other people just hated it. It had really bad spawns when it first came out, but they fixed those eventually. And then Ghost, so it's kind of ticking down.
I liked I liked Black Ops 2. I thought it was a good game. Black Ops was the game that hooked me, and that's still my favorite. You can still go back and play Black Ops, and it's still fun as ever.
Same with I go back and play MW2 or COD 4 sometimes. Still very fun games.
COD 4, there's a lot of that hacked bull crap.
Yeah, there is, but it's a good game. And COD 4 is a great PC game because it was a PC game. It runs great on PC. A lot of people playing it still, so I go back and do that sometimes.
Right. Now World at War is unplayable. You cannot even...
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Oh, my God.
That one didn't float my boat as much. It had some fun stuff, like the bolt action insta-kill. Poof, poof. It had a kind of good feel to it, but I didn't even own that game. I borrowed it from a friend.
Well, the best thing about that game was the announcers. It's like, our hounds will rip them to shreds!
I remember that. And then they had the super dogs that were really fast. They'd go all over the map.
Yep.
Yeah, it was only a 7-kill streak, too.
Yeah, you could have tanks in that game, I think. Yeah, that one had tanks you could get in and drive around.
There was a couple of maps that had tanks.
Yep.
Yeah, that game was kind of crazy, but
flamethrower. It's like you could just carry this flamethrower in your pocket and pull it out and hose people.
Yeah. And then Black Ops had a flamethrower, which was an attachment.
It wasn't that great, but it was fun sometimes.
Yeah, we used to play. We have a weekly private game night. Me and Flex, we host it. It's on Tuesdays. We call it Monkey Turd Tuesdays. It's been going on for even longer than Bulletproof Underwear. Oh, that's, by the way, that's the name of the podcast. Hey, how about you say you're watching Bulletproof Underwear, episode 100 with Yam and Flex, or Flex and Yam.
You're watching Bulletproof Underwear, episode 100 with Yam and Flex.
That's awesome. Drift0r, you demand.
See, you can ask Yam when getting back to Black Ops 2. When it first came out, I brought it home. I played it for like an hour. I went right to my camera and I said, I hate this game. It sucks. I'm not going to play it. It's crap.
Yeah, I put up a vlog.
I put up a vlog, and Yam gets on the next day and sees that, and he's like, "Oh my God, what are we going to do for a year?"
I know.
But then as I played it more, I mean, it is one of my favorite COD games.
It got a lot better as they patched it.
It did.
It was. I was there on launch, and it was really, really rough on launch.
Yeah, and that's what I got a taste of.
Well, the thing about Ghost is it's just designed with all these ways to reward camping.
Yes.
The price of the perks. It's like you can get a thermal scope for free, and it costs 3 points to counter it.
Yes. Or
yeah.
They're constantly nerfing IEDs, thank God. But if you get an IED, you need 4 points worth of perks to counter one IED, and it still might not even help you if it's got blast shield with it. Not blast shield. I mean,
danger close.
Danger close. Yes.
Yeah. So they've made it. Like Black Ops was a submachine gun running. Black Ops 2 was a submachine gun run and gun kind of a game. Campers is like the game mechanic where the person moving had an advantage over the person who wasn't moving.
That's still true in Ghosts.
Is it?
Yes, but well, now just the pure lag aspect of that, yes. But the way the game, all the other thing, like the move speed and the time to kill and all that other stuff, no. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, I saw videos in the Black Ops 2 days, and then I actually experienced it myself a few times where I would try to snipe and I would duck behind a barrel, and I was like stationary, and the other guy would kill me. He's like, there's no way. I reacted first.
Well, you forget that Black Ops 2 also had a target finder, which was a pretty frustrating attachment.
Oh, there was some bullshit in that game. The shock charge.
The drone thing you throw, the free kill.
Paper airplane, that was bullshit. And the target finder was bullshit. A couple of the maps like Turbine.
RC car was toned back a little bit. It wasn't quite as frustrating, but it was still there.
It was in the original Black Ops, that was bullshit.
Those damn shock charges could get bullshit too, because you could stick them to anything.
Yeah, that's just like I hate that.
I didn't like the shock charge thing, man.
But playing League play was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I used to love to run that. I forgot what the perk was called, where you could see enemy equipment in Black Ops 2. But
sit rep.
Yeah. Yep. I'd always run sit rep and carry 2 EMP grenades, and it's like, oh my God, you could earn a kill streak just chucking EMP grenades.
Score streaks were nice. That was I didn't realize how good it was until I moved back to just pure kills. It was really nice because I was an OBJ player. And what made the big difference was I could kill 2 people and I wouldn't really get much. But if I killed 2 people while capturing a flag, doing something for the team, that was like half my streaks right there.
Yeah. And you take out a bouncing Betty or something along the way, and it's like, my God, it just adds up. It's like, that's the way to do it. Now, they've got competitive Call of Duty and MLG, but they only use a couple of maps.
Yes.
And they use an incredibly stripped down version of the game. I mean, why not just make a game that you could play the same game competitively?
I have a feeling that's what Sledgehammer wants to do. Like, it's not secret leak. I don't know, but I get that vibe from them. That's what they want to do, like League does. League of Legends is like that. Once you play League of Legends at home, is the exact same thing with not a single different setting than what the pros play on main stage for $1 million.
So they haven't like extracted the BS and stuff. Whatever is in that game is in that game for everybody.
Yes. Also, Riot, the company, controls the competitive scene instead of a different agency like MLG. And now they do invite the pro players to come play sometimes if there's a big update. And if there's something broken, like if there's a bug or something that's just clearly wrong, the game company will announce the champion so-and-so, which is one of like 120, is banned this weekend. Sorry, guys, it's broken. We're going to fix it later.
Right.
MLG controls competitive COD, and especially for Ghost, the maps were designed more for public play than they were for private play. And I'm trying to think. I talked to one of the map designers at COD Championship, and what he said is they tried to design it in a way when you had the 3-lane maps with straightforward cover options and like Black Ops, the people that had really, really high skill could just dominate that and just pub stomp the crap out of people. And they didn't have a chance. They didn't have a hope in hell. They just lose all their gunfights. So they tried to make the maps in Ghosts bigger because they were requested. The community requested bigger maps. They requested no more 3-lane maps. They requested these things, and they tried to make the terrain a little bit unfamiliar and a little bit jarring, so that people that weren't as experienced would be more on equal footing than the 3-year run and gunner types, to make so that they would both have to learn and adapt to this sort of thing.
Right. So we end up with a map like Chasm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that.
Oh, first rule of Call of Duty is always check your corners, all 13 of them.
There's some stuff that would just be totally broken if you allowed it in competitive. Like, imagine IEDs in competitive.
Yeah, that just wouldn't fly.
How about the squad mate?
Oh God!
Yeah,
in the first couple of weeks, that was allowed.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was one of the first people rocking the squad mate. I thought, this is awesome. This is just completely amazing.
It was squad mate dog. The dog is broken all the hell.
Yeah, the dog is BS. That is complete BS. Now, I noticed when you run the dog, you like the wolf.
Mm-hmm. I have a wolf. Why not use a wolf?
Well, how come there's no Sheba?
I tried to do that for April Fool's Day to mod one in the game, but didn't pan out.
Well, we're friends with Tom. He's been on our show a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
So we, of course, he was lobbying when Ghost was announced. Fire Riley, hire Ozzy.
Ozzy, yes.
Yes.
It didn't quite pan out like he was hoping.
No. I'd actually tried to mod the dog in the game, but it didn't. It didn't go all the way through. It was kind of an ugly looking model too. It was just Riley with like a Sheba head. So.
So do you make your thumbnails, or do you got a guy who does that?
I make about 99% of them. If there's something really, really important, or something I can't do myself, I have a guy. His name is Nix VB. Hard to pronounce, but yeah, I have a guy. He does a few, but the vast majority of the rest I do on my own.
Yeah, that's cool. I love the bulldog.
Yes.
Where you put Ozzy's head.
Yep.
So what's the deal with that meme thing? The dog. That is crazy.
It is. But Shibas have been a meme for a long time. The reason we have the dog is because they had the Shiba Inu puppy cam, and my wife saw it and they thought they were adorable. So Shiba Inu puppy cam was an internet meme, and then it died down, and then a couple years later the dog showed up. So I've had a meme dog for a long time. It's interesting. It's just kind of funny. Memes come, they go. This one will go eventually. So
yeah. Well, now I've seen people walking Shibas before. I live in Oakland, California.
Oh, then you'll see some stuff like that there.
See that? I mean, very multicultural kind of place, and we're right next door to San Francisco and Berkeley.
Okay.
And I've seen people walking Shibas. They're little.
Yes, they're little. They're 20 to 25 pounds, and Ozzy's actually a runt, so he's the right weight but the wrong size.
So you're a little on the chunk side then.
Yeah. I prefer stocky.
Now, don't say that so loud. You'll hurt his feelings.
Oh, he's gone.
Hey, I saw him go after that squirrel. He looked pretty spry.
Yeah, I couldn't show all that video. It was a little ugly.
Ew, you get picketed by PETA. They'd be like throwing blood on you and shit.
Yeah, I've had that happen before. Well, not the blood, but animal lovers go nuts. The dog was very difficult to raise as a puppy. Just Shibas are the most difficult dogs I've ever done. I've raised a lot of dogs, country living. You do that. This dog was really, really difficult. If you read about it on the internet, they often list Shibas as the most difficult dogs to train and this kind of stuff. And truly, it was a challenge. We tried everything. Eventually, I moved down to spanking the dog, and he just after he didn't give a flip how hard I spanked it, so I had to upgrade to spanking with a belt. And yeah,
oh my God.
It sounds awful, but the dog...
Cards and letters, courtesy of Drift0r.
Yeah. No, we had a rule in my house because I had roommates, because the dog would go off and chew things. The dog knew the rule, and I knew the rule. You have to stay in my room until I tell you can leave. It's difficult, but you're supposed to teach them that. Other dogs, like my roommate had a lab, the lab knew the rule. Other, retrievers, they're easy to train. My dog knew that he wasn't allowed to leave, so he'd stand at the door and hurf at me, and I'd tell him no. And then he would bark at me and look at me with this face of just like, fuck you, and run off. Like, make sure I was looking at him to see him run off and then make me chase him. You wouldn't think an animal would be like that, but like real bad attitude problems and biting. Like, I could not pet my dog for the first year that I owned him. He'd bite me. Wow. And we tried everything. I mean, everything under the sun. And I got on Dogster.com and I had to make a profile. And the only picture I had of the damn dog was the one when he was a puppy, like little bitty. So I put it up there, and I explained what was going on, and then I explained that the only thing that has worked so far is spanking. The only thing. And I asked for advice and help. And unfortunately, instead of looking at the age, what they saw is the picture of the little fluff ball that's like
you're
this big.
spanking this tiny little puppy.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
And even the ones that did this is the Dogster forums, where the doggiest of dog people go, in a specialty breed forum. Things got really ugly really fast. A lot of my posts got deleted, even though I didn't say anything wrong. My account was suspended after all of this. It was like a week or so later. They found me and my wife on Facebook, and they sent my wife messages telling her that she should leave me because if I beat the dog, I'll beat her too. People said they called, I don't know, those animal rescue folks to come take my dog, and I was just trying to be as honest as I could be. Like, I need help with this fucking animal.
Yeah.
And I got all the worst from it. And I looked at some of these people's profile, and I clicked on one person that was telling me I was a terrible person. You can't beat your dog. And it was a picture of a couple, and they were furries, but they were Shiba Inu furries, and they were wearing these life-size Shiba suits and walking their Shiba dog. And I don't think I said anything to them, but because I knew it wouldn't end well. But in my head, I was like, it's clear that you want to fuck your dog. You can't tell me that I can't spank mine.
Yeah, with all due respect, furries are freaks. They are freaks.
But it's really weird if you're a freak of a specific dog breed and you own that dog breed.
It's extra freaky.
Yeah, that's getting there. That's getting into the bestiality range. So it went really bad.
There's some
I still
amazing
can't use
tricks that they
Dogster.
can do with peanut butter.
Yeah, bite. So no, I've had the animal lovers after me, and the thing is that it looked so bad. I knew it looked bad, but I didn't want to hurt my dog. I needed help. What was funny thing is the thing that made the dog a good dog. He broke his back. He had a disc bulge, and it was so painful he couldn't walk or eat or like pee or do anything on his own. So I had to carry him everywhere and feed him and do everything for months and months. And it like finally sank into this dog's head that I wasn't the bad guy. Like, oh, this is the person that takes care of me. And ever since he got better, he's been the best dog I've ever had.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's just kind of a rebel without a cause is what he was. You know, he just like had a chip on his shoulder. He's like pissed off at the world.
I lived in a place with no yard, and I was in class all the time, so I had a lot of pent-up energy. Which wasn't helping.
So how did you decide to name him Ozymandias? You know, Ozymandias is a character from literature who created, you know, behold everything I've accomplished.
Well, my wife,
like turned
the dog
to dust.
was for my wife. That was my engagement present to her. It came with a ring because we weren't rich people by any measure. And it was sort of like showing you that I can make something impossible possible. They're kind of hard to get in the U.S., Not a lot of Shibas around, especially not in the rural South. Wow. Not there.
So you must have known a guy who known a guy.
Internet, and a lot of money. 6 months of sandwiches worth of money.
Oh, wow. Ozzy.
Yeah. It's on my stomach. Is that my wife texting me? No.
Sacrificing the sandwiches. Ooh.
Yeah. No, well, 6 months of no food but sandwiches is what I meant.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. So I bet you all you had to eat was just fish heads.
Yeah, I ate that. I'll make
crickets sandwiches.
I'm eating crickets this week coming up.
Oh my God!
But I'm an omnivore. I eat everything.
Flex did except bananas.
No.
Now, how could you be afraid of a banana? They're delicious.
Because I was force fed them 3 a day for 3 years.
See, I can't eat it.
It's a little phallic.
If I eat a banana, I get extremely strong stomach pain. Potassium.
Well,
too much potassium for my body.
Well, you know what else has a lot of potassium is semen. So maybe it's like that's what I heard.
Well, you can get on Craigslist and find no shortage of that.
So did you see the video, Flex, where Drift0r ate fish heads?
No, I did not see that.
It wasn't
video.
a special effect. I was like looking for the cut.
I eat them.
It's like, oh my God!
I thought I was doing good.
I would have, if I was at the table with you, I would have puked.
Oh, everybody was being namby-pambies. Have you ever been to like a Korean place? Korean food?
I have, but usually like barbecue stuff.
Yeah, Korean barbecue. It's a lot like American barbecue. Tasty.
Yeah, it is. It's good.
And it's like legit Chinese, Asian, Vietnamese, where the menu's not in English and you're just like trying to point at the pictures.
Right. Well,
Okay.
I live in Oakland, man.
Okay, yeah. So, well, we were in L.A. and we walked to Koreatown because there was supposed to be this good Korean place, and we went in there and it was way more Korean than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be Korean barbecue, which would be an easy sell for white people. It's a big pile of barbecued meat. It was not Korean barbecue. So we ordered the lunch special, which came with appetizers, and part of our appetizers, they took a whole codfish, which, is about this big, pretty decent sized fish. Everything, I think, no, they didn't gut it, just the whole fish. Throw it right in the fryer. Fry it.
Wow, saves a ton of processing.
Yeah. So you get the whole fish come out, scales, spikes, bone, eyes, guts, everything. But if you ever had fried meat like maybe a fish or a fowl where they really fry it hard and even the bones are cooked, so it's
crunchy.
It's crunchy. It's like a hash brown texture. Except when they serve it up, it looks like you saw it, a fried fish with a head with eyes that are bulged out and a tail. And I asked the Korean lady that ran the place just to make sure. I was like, yeah, you eat the whole fish? And it's like, yeah, whole fish, like head, tail, everything. Oh, yeah, fried, crunchy. Oh, okay, know what this is. And everybody was flipping out about the fish. They were all like, oh, it's so gross, it's disgusting. Like, I like this other food, but why would they give us these things? And I'm like, guys, it's edible. And they wouldn't believe me. It's like, look, I'll show you. I'll eat the head. And I got it and I filmed it. I'll eat the head. It's crunchy. It's digestible. The only thing that were hard is they had little...
I saw you picking something out.
The spine. The spine was thick. It had little things about this size. Just they were a little crunchier than what I wanted, so I picked out a few vertebrae and ate the rest. But I eat almost anything, especially with my wife. She's Chinese, so and there's some traditional foods that she eats that I really don't want to touch or that I've learned to eat. So, but I was always about trying new things, so I'll try just about anything. And I went to the store the day and they had a box of crickets, sour cream and onion fried crickets. So I got them and I'm trying them. A couple days from now, I'm going to film it. We're going to do a review on crickets, see how tasty they are.
Sour cream and onion crickets. I think it's going to really surpass Doritos.
Probably not. I asked the staff at the store which was the tastiest, and they said none. And I said, which is the least bad? And they said sour cream and onion.
It'd be great if you were a gecko. You'd probably think it was the best thing ever.
Oh, yeah.
Probably. The point is I eat everything.
You do a lot of videos other than gaming videos.
Yeah.
I noticed, you did some videos about dreams, and the one that really tweaked my interest was the one that you did on chronic pain, because I suffer from chronic pain. Had 3 rotator cuff surgeries, a neck fusion, and broke my ankle 3 times. So,
have you got your titanium bar handy?
This was the plate they put in my shoulder when I broke my collarbone.
Oh, God. Kept it?
Yeah, they sterilized it for me and gave it to me. I wore it as a necklace. Well, at first I wore it as a necklace because I was in the sling. And when you're in a sling, everybody's like, oh, what'd you do to your arm? So I was like, eh.
Got it. Well, I hope it was relevant. I had a shorter time in chronic pain than many people. I got very lucky and recovered a lot faster than normal, but it was a really sucky 3 or 4 months. Yeah,
it's something that you wouldn't wish on your worst enemy. I mean, it's and especially like the nerve pain. Like when I had my neck, the nerve pain is just unrelenting. I mean, it just does not stop.
I found it very difficult to sleep.
Yeah, that's part of why I have insomnia now to a point, is because back then I got into that mode where I couldn't sleep. You can't sleep. It's so there all the time. And that's kind of why I have insomnia to a point.
You can sleep with Vicodin and oxycodone.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's other problems associated with that.
Now, see, Flex, had his fun with stuff like that a long time ago.
Yeah, I was a bad boy when I was younger.
Yes, he was. Now, were you worried that pain state was going to be like, that maybe a part of your mind was thinking maybe I'll never get
Yeah, my dad had the same injury, and his never got better. So I had to help him, still helping him. So that was worrisome. And it's one of those things that's going to be with me forever. Last week before, he's the hair. I quit. Last week before I went to Los Angeles, I don't know what I did, but it came back. Not nearly as bad, but it was back, and it was painful, and it was uncomfortable. And I was like, oh man, this crap again. And it's just every couple months I stress just a little bit too hard and it comes back, and I got to take it easy and rest. And it's something that probably isn't ever going to go away and like the kind of go away where it never comes back. It does quit hurting, yes, but I need to be careful and not re-hurt.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes Flex and I'll be playing on Xbox or something, and he say, I got to quit. My hand is killing me.
Yeah, my shoulder right now is in flux, so to speak. They couldn't do an MRI with the plate in because the diffusion from the plate wouldn't give them a clear enough image, but they think I tore my rotator cuff.
Also, Yam, you froze on my end.
Oh, I did?
Yep.
Let me try
Oh,
muting my camera. Okay. I'm going to turn it back on. Is it coming back?
It's loading. It's thinking about it.
Oh, okay.
there you are.
I love Skype, but Skype is not perfect.
There he is.
Okay, you see me?
Yep, I see you.
Okay, Drifter, you see me yet?
Yep, you're back.
Hey! I was making some really, really rude gestures, but you didn't see.
It's okay. I'm a hard person to offend.
Oh my God! So what's next for Drifter? I know that you're going to E3, right?
Yes. I'm not doing a full E3. I'm just doing 1 day in and out.
How could you just do it in and out?
Because I'm not paying for it. I'm going on somebody else's dime, and I'm hitting their events, and I've got a little bit of extra time, and that's that.
Yeah. So is like Activision picking it up?
Can't say yet.
Oh, say no more. Say
Yeah.
no more.
You'll know pretty soon, but
Okay.
Okay. So
All
what
these
do you think
companies
about these? What do you think about these like these Elysium suits or whatever that's going to be in the game?
man, at least it's something different. At least it's not the same. In a future war where everything is scary and covered in dust, and they hacked something, only real soldiers can fight back with old guns. No, it's something. We're getting something different. Thank God, something different.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people were like, well, geez, you know what? These exoskeletons and these suits and stuff, it's kind of like Titanfall. They ripped them off, and it's like
It is like Titanfall.
it is. But the thing is the game's been in development for how long? So, did they rip off Titanfall? I don't think so.
I don't know, but you know what? The movement in Titanfall is so fun. We were playing private matches last night. It's like Halo and Titanfall. There's all this movement and verticality that's missing in Call of Duty.
Yes, but that's one of the things that makes COD COD. COD is the most casual game that there is. You have no limited sci-fi elements. You have straightforward shooting engagements, real guns, things that normal mainstream types identify with. When you start adding jetpacks and lasers and jumpsuits, we start moving more and more away from the mainstream. And I don't know what you guys are like or what your friends or family is like, but you would be surprised at the things that just absolutely offend people or that they hate or can't stand. Like if something has magic in it, no magic. I will never watch or read or anything. Or same thing with space. Like if there's a laser, I'm done. Just not happening. They're just not interested.
So does that mean you're a person who likes or doesn't like Halo?
Oh, I do like Halo. I like all that stuff. I like
Oh,
it a
yeah.
lot. I mean, most
I
of the
love
books
Halo.
back here on the shelf are comic books or sci-fi books of some kind. A few fantasy books.
So did you ever do any like Halo machinimas?
Mm-hmm. A lot of them.
All right.
Probably 100.
Really?
Wow. So
Yeah, go back
where
and
did a
check them
person
out.
go to find these?
It's a good question. Machinima privated about 80% of my videos recently, and I need to call them and get them unprivated. I have to trade in all the money. I have to basically I won't get paid for them anymore. So let's see.
Well, if they're privated, you won't get paid anyway.
Yeah. Let's see which ones are still up. Wow, I have mostly the ones on my channel, unfortunately. Oh, the Lighthouse is still up. Do you guys want links?
Yeah, send me a link.
Yeah.
All right, copy
Yeah.
link location. Now I made these things on a capture card that cost $15 and came from China, and like it wasn't even supposed to work the way that it did work. I had to kind of hack it in a way to make it work. Not really hack, just force it to do some things.
So is our buddy Tom in any of them?
Yeah, he's in a lot of these actually. He voice acted quite a few characters, not all of these, but some of them definitely. What in the world is this one? So I have to watch an ad to even see what all of these are because it's been so long.
Boom! Check me out, Roxio Game Cap.
Oh God, that was the worst.
That was
the worst.
It was. Like, I had one. And
they probably sold a lot of ad block. Boom! Check me out.
And then they had the proprietary. Well, for the first Roxio device, they used WMV for the file. You couldn't change it. And then the second one, the HD one, the HDMI one, used some proprietary. Well, it wasn't proprietary, but it wasn't a standard. It wasn't like an
Flex got the Roxio HD, but then he got an Elgato. But now he's got. Tell him, Flex.
Oh, I got one of those Hopage Pocket DVRs.
The Rocket.
The Rocket.
Have you tried that one?
I have not. I'm sponsored by Elgato, so I don't.
Oh, you do the Elgato thing.
Well, I have Elgato, and it is the bomb with that.
I love
time thing.
I loved my Elgato, but the problem was you'd be playing along, and all of a sudden it lose signal to my TV, and Elgato could never figure out what was causing it. They couldn't. It wasn't a software issue. It wasn't a hardware issue with the Elgato. It had something to do with my TV and HDMI. So
yeah.
Well, that's unfortunate because mine's been almost flawless. I could count the times on one hand it's flubbed up in the last many years.
Well, I've had mine. I was one of the first people who got it, and when I got it, it was working perfectly. And then there was a period of time where it would freeze, just like this freeze 2 frames on the screen, and you going back and forth, and it would do that all the time. But then, for some miraculous reason, it stopped, and it's been good as gold ever since. So yeah, I still like the Elgato.
I like it. I loved it, but I just my TV. It's my TV that's the problem. I'm sure of it because I don't think the Elgato itself was having a hardware problem because like I could write the firmware to it and everything else, and there was no problem doing that. So it was my TV. So, but I had taken the warranty out on it when I bought it. I bought it at Best Buy. I know they tell you never take the warranty out, but I did. And so I took it back in, and I could either have another Elgato or trade it for store credit. So I traded it for a Ion Pro 2 action camera.
Oh yeah. He's got the. It's like a GoPro. You can wear it on your head or stick it on your handlebars, shit like that. Did you have the super duper mega prestige edition of Ghost that had the camera?
Mm-hmm.
So what'd you think about that camera? Was it any good?
Non-disclosure agreement.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
It was a camera.
I said everything that I can or will say about that camera in my video.
It was a camera.
Yes.
It absolutely, positively was a camera.
Indeed.
So, me and Yam went ahead and bought the. What was that thing called when Black
that
Ops
was the care package that had the quad rotor.
So is this a trick question? Did you guys get it and use the camera?
No, I was just curious about it.
No, I was curious.
It's like I chose, it's like I thought about it, but it's like, I don't think it looks that good, so I just decided not to.
I was going to get it. They had one at my GameStop for the longest time, and they didn't drop the price, and I came in, like one day I came in, and the day before they had dropped the price by like 60%.
Wow.
And somebody just like snapped it up.
Yeah, there's probably still those Titanfall, giant mech things.
There's one in my living room.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. But it's
man,
expensive.
it's way cool.
Very expensive, though.
Did you buy yours or did you get?
I got trolled. It was given to me as a gag gift, kind of. So I did some, I guess you could call it PR kind of stuff with EA and Respawn. They flew me out to play their game early, and I'd been talking to some of their guys, and usually companies like this are kind of nice, and they'll send you like a game code or a game or like an early game or something. So I was like, all right, time to beg for free stuff. So I sent them an email and I asked, like, hey man, could you please send me the game early, because then I could get gameplay on day one and it would be good for your sales. And not really entirely true. And he says no. I was like, okay, well, do you have maybe a game code or something I can get, or something when the game comes out? And he's like, no, sorry, we're out of copies. You're gonna have to buy it. I'm like, okay, well, and he was really rude about it too. I was like, all right, well, that's okay. I mean, I guess, you know, you ask for free stuff, you don't always get it. And then the next day, this giant box shows up at my house. It's like the collector's edition. I get an email that says, surprise.
So they're being dicks about it, and then it's like, just trolling.
Yeah. The point was to totally put me off and then have me be really surprised when it got there. And I really was surprised when it got there.
Yeah. Well, see, you know, there's a lot of talk about Titanfall kind of fizzled and everything, but I don't know. It's like, it is still hell of fun to play.
I like playing it.
Player count's gone down, though.
I'm sure it has. But see, Battlefield's players count went down. Ghost player count went down. Titanfall went down. What are people playing?
It's summer. They're vacationing. They're doing things outside their life in general.
Outside? What's that?
I think on my bio on Xbox it says, just remember, you can always, if it's a nice sunny day out, you can always game and look out the door.
That's right. Hey, check out the man caves. Like, look at that Flex man cave. Is that cool or what?
I have been meaning to ask about that. What it looks like, you're living inside of a pinball machine, kind of.
Yeah,
all I see is the lights.
My wife actually did all that. It's there's like a poster up there from Lollipop Chainsaw. I've got the Skyrim dragon back there.
I'm maximizing you. I see Homer Simpson. I see the lights dog.
There's a giant Gears of War thing.
Oh. Now you're talking. I see your Black Ops.
Yeah. I got my Black Ops. Actually, I still have my Ghosts poster. I just never have put it up. I don't know. It's just right here.
Check it out. He's still got his Black Ops 2 posters up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One side's the orange side, one side's the gray side. I got it on. See, Flex and I, have more dollars than cents. So we got Xbox One, PS4. We got Ghost for everything. I have 4 copies of Ghost.
Oh God.
Oh my God, I know. But see, I only bought 1 DLC, and that's the only DLC I'm gonna get.
I originally bought 3 copies, but I own 2.
Which one?
Yeah, which one did you get the DLC?
I got it for the Xbox One.
Oh, okay.
Which DLC? Or did you get the season?
I got the season pass.
Okay.
I got the season pass, yeah.
My bad. Funny way to ask a
allowed
question.
me to get the Ripper early, which, oh my God, that is so good. That is the best submachine gun in the game. For me, it is.
MTAR all the way.
I can't use the iron sights on that thing. I
just put a red dot on it.
Yeah, but you don't have to do that with the Ripper. You can use the iron sights.
But it has low range.
Yeah, but then you can stick a long barrel in there, and
still doesn't compete with the MTAR.
No, I like the MTAR too.
Well, just the versatility of it, being able to convert to an assault rifle, that is a good gun.
It is definitely a good gun. I don't think it's OP as everybody says it is.
But you can always run it, because like whatever circumstance you need is sort of a jack of all trades, and it's a very good SMG. If it's not the best, it's a very good one.
Yeah, the assault rifle part's kind of dumpy, but I can SMG pretty hard with it.
And you know what? Here's an in-depth that you could do. The Ripper, when you have it on assault rifle, aim down sight, your movement speed is the same as it is for
I think I covered
SMG.
that.
I don't know if you did. Okay.
That's where you got it from.
Well, no. I just discovered that myself. You don't need Stalker.
Did you?
Yeah,
you don't need Stalker with it, which is very nice.
That is very nice. So that's Pay to win, baby.
It's not. No, there's other things that are. The Bison's very strong. MTAR is very strong. I'm very comfortable with the CBJ or the K7. The Remington and AK are great. Maverick has kind of fallen off a little bit. I don't use it a whole lot. The Sniper's not bad. What else is there? SC 2010 is practically a laser beam.
Oh, yeah, that's one of my favorites just because of how straight it shoots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I can't use the iron sights. It's just this fucking little hole. I can't stand
I don't do iron sights on it. I do a red dot.
Yeah,
that's what I do. I do the red dot, or try to.
Yeah, yeah. You don't even need a grip. I mean, it without a grip is better than anything else with a grip.
Just about. It's really, really dangerous. But, I mean, you're talking to a guy here. I am just as comfortable using a Kimbo P226 or a single P226 as I am with a real gun. Maybe, the pistol thing is less so in Ghosts, but in Black Ops, I'm posting some videos later this week. You'll see Black Ops 2 just shred people with TAC 45, and I can do very good with pistol only in Ghosts. So, I guess as weapons expert, I have to use every single weapon for in-depth and goofy stuff all the time. So, you'll say, oh, this gun is perfectly overpowered, or these things are bad. I'm like, nah, you're just not using them right. There's ways to use everything just about. You got to make it work for you. Not that it's easy, but it's doable.
Right. Well, I mean, you're not going to be, if you're playing against really strong competitors and they're using the good stuff, you're going to be struggling, possibly.
Did you see me play Optic Big Timer in Black Ops 1?
Oh, I missed that one. Really? You played Optic Big Timer?
Mm-hmm. We did Call of Community 1. On my team, I had White Boy, Bash, and, I'm forgetting somebody else. Who else did I have? Mark of J? Yeah. Versus Big Timer and some other people. I forget honestly who was on their team, but Big Timer. And I played Akimbo Scorpions on Summit. And the first round, my team was winning, even though White Boy was trolling and not playing. So it was like 3v4. And I managed to shut down Big Timer and just shit on their whole team. I think I only had it was like 11 and 13 kill-wise. But I had 5 or 6 caps in a very short period of time. A lot of defense and stuff. Akimbo Scorpions. But the problem was the Akimbo Scorpion class required me to not run Ninja or whatever because I had to have some other perks to make it work. So Optic Big Timer adapted, and in the second round, they were able to come back and win. But some of these things are more viable than you think.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you're talking to a 55-year-old guy who needs all the help he can get. So we're not elite gamers by no means. It's like you probably don't ever talk to anybody as scrubby as me and Flex.
Ha! Hey, you would be surprised.
Well, I mean, you're like hanging out with like people who are like legendary and stuff.
That doesn't make them good at the game. Oh, yeah. YouTubers totally different than pros.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, YouTubers, it's like I know that if you put enough hours getting gameplay, sooner or later you'll get a good one. You'll lobby shop and you'll get a good game.
Yeah.
But the way to find out how good somebody is watch their stream if they Twitch.
Yes.
Yeah.
I played. Can I say this? Yeah. Okay. So I've played a lot of YouTubers. Recently played against T. Martin, Optic Midnight, and Ali A in Ghost, and they were all very good players. I've played against Only Use Me Blade in Ghost. He's extremely good. I've played against. I'm not going to tell you anybody that's bad because that's not polite.
No.
Oh Lord O, if you know him, he's good. I've played Optic Hex. Optic Hex can quickscope very well in Ghost. I played against Hastro. Hastro is still. Like he's got that pro level aim very solid. I need to get back on the YouTube scene. Who else plays very well? Can you just throw some people at me? Since
how about Ronaldinho?
I played against Ronaldinho.
Oh my God, he is amazing.
I played against him. I think in MW3 and was not impressed.
Really?
So yeah, I didn't. It was not a threat to me. Not that he was bad, but he wasn't the beast everybody said he was. And then we went our different ways, and we met again in Black Ops 2 after he was doing the pro scene thing, and we scrimmed against him, and he crapped all over my team. Godlike, very, very good player. Like, whatever we did, I did it wrong, and he'd been doing it right in the meantime. He got very, very good.
Wow. Did you ever play against a guy who doesn't do YouTube anymore? He's like Nerdy for the Win?
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, he seemed like he's just amazing. Like him and Mark of J.
Mm-hmm.
Mark of J is amazing.
I played with them and against them. Against them is much worse than with.
Of course, yeah.
No, Nerdy's very good.
and Fearcrads. Fearcrad seems like a really good.
I haven't played with him.
Yeah, well, some of these guys seem very, very legit. It's like they can pretty much expect to do really well almost any time they play, and sometimes they do crazy good. Sometimes they just do damn good. You know,
White Boy's actually better than he lets on. Like, not saying he tries to put up bad gameplay, but he's not known as being like the greatest ever GOAT, the greatest of all time. But
he's the GOAT, man.
Yeah, but no, I've played against him, and he's a solid player. I like weird classes. He uses weird classes, and he usually ruins my shit when we play together. He's the guy messing me up.
Yeah. See, I try to not like White Boy because he's so goofy, but I can't help it. His personality just, I don't know. This guy is insane.
He's a nice guy.
He seems like a nice guy, down deep.
Met him. He's a nice guy.
Well, I mean, he's had some tough shit in his life, too. I think that tends to make a person kind of kind and nice and more introspective if they have had, like, some rough times.
Generally
if you always
speaking,
had it easy, if you had everything smooth, no big problem, you haven't had to work on your interpersonal. Everybody wants to be your friend. Everyone wants to talk to you. Like, say you're a star athlete or you're the cheerleader girl or whatever. It's like, the challenges to your personality are never put there.
Correct.
Yeah,
I just agree with you there.
Yeah.
I mean, if you get crapped on, abused, and treated like shit your young life or your entire life, you do tend to be more. I don't know if compassionate's the right word, or you're a nicer person to other people because of what's happened to you and your experiences.
That's in general. There are, of course, exceptions to that, but in general,
I found that. Or you could be a trouble
true.
loner and unload at the post office or something, or at McDonald's.
Yeah. I've also found, and this is a hard way to say this, it's both good and bad. Some people don't know they can fail, so they try to do impossible things and achieve, and some people don't know they can fail, and they just do really stupid things against all better judgment. Or if you've ever known anybody in your life that's just never had their ass kicked before, and they think that they can win every fight, that they're just going to come out on top, and just like they've never had that fist-to-face experience, they tend to be a bigger asshole than people that have been on the receiving end a time or two.
Well, chances are somebody like that eventually will get a good, solid ass kicking.
Eventually.
Yeah. Now, see, I try hard not to get ass kickings because I like my teeth all in here.
Mm-hmm.
See, I used to be a pit fighter. I used to be a pit street fighter, whatever you want to call it. And back then, I wouldn't walk across the. I wouldn't do nothing. I'd stay on the same side of the street to get in a fight. Now, I'll walk 2 blocks away to stay away from a fight.
Yeah, so you're like the people I ran into in Boston.
What were they like?
They're Irish, and everybody knows about them, right?
But
just kidding.
Right. You're right. If you've had your ass kicked a few times and know what it feels like, man, you get a little more humility as far as thinking about fighting.
You know what's worth it and what isn't.
Exactly.
Right. Or somebody says, "Oh man, I'm going to fuck you up," and if you've never happened before, you're like, "Yeah, this guy's all talk." But if you've been on the other end of that, you're like, "Maybe not."
Yeah. Well, also, if you grow up with a sibling who's close in age to you, maybe you've had a few knockdown, drag-outs that are unavoidable, like I had.
No, it's been the other way. My sibling was considered a special needs child when he really wasn't, because, like I said, my mom had to make sure everybody had diseases, which meant that any sort of bad behavior he did was excused. And for me, anything that I did was just Satan. How would you abuse your special ed brother? Blah, blah, blah. So, like, he'd come up and whop me with a baseball bat, and I'd, like, push him over to just crawl away, and I'd get in trouble for pushing him. So I got on a very weird end of that, being abused by a toddler, because there were no other options.
Wow.
Yeah.
So are you resentful? Do you
No.
want to kick his ass, or?
I have no problems with my brother. None at all. He grew out of it. Hell, I was worse as a kid.
My sister knocked me out with a wooden cane one time in the back of the head. I don't hold that against her.
Well, I'm sure you deserved it.
I did.
See, that's a good attitude. Sometimes you just, man, I know there's hundreds of things that I did just for the meanness of it, or even when I knew it was wrong, or just, and I got what was coming to me most of the time.
Well, we got spanked in my day.
Same here.
Yep, same here.
With a belt. I mean, this was not like any
belt
this
boards,
was no
wooden spoons.
Just a pathetic excuse.
Oh,
for
they make y'all do the
spanking.
switches?
No, we didn't do switches.
Oh yeah, my grandma used to make us go cut the switches for her.
Yeah,
And
I had that shit. And you had this game to play. Do I get the big switch that hurts really hard, the little one that stings, but if it's too little, then grandma cuts her own switch and you really don't want that? Oh.
Yep.
Bad times.
Wow. That sounds like it'd be a good like an iPhone game or something.
The punishment I got that was worse was when I moved in with my mother. She tried this new age. This would be kind of like passive aggressive. So I'd like, as second grade, I got in a fight in school. I had to write "I will not fight in school" like 15 or 20,000 times until it filled an entire notebook, double page, back and front. Just sit there writing. I spent a week writing "I will not fight in school," and then I got like. I was writing like like all the way down. Bam! Have another notebook.
Oh man!
Oh wow!
Yeah. So that I much preferred spanking to that one. That
no doubt.
But see, nowadays, if you spank a kid, you're probably going to have child protective services like a SWAT team at your door.
That's right. They'll come down on you like a steel claw hammer.
So here's something that's weird. I'm kind of, I guess you could say, pro spanking. It makes sense to me. I don't think it's that horrible of an evil. Yet every single, and I mean every single research article, every journal article, every scholarly psychological counseling, everything I have ever read has indicated that spanking is less effective than other strategies and teaches children less than other strategies, which is counter to my own logic, which puts me in a weird spot about it.
Well, I understand and I agree with all that, except I know that when I did something bad, I knew I was going to get a spanking, so I would like actually not do certain things because I knew it wasn't worth the spanking. So
it's bizarre, man, because my daughter's 13 years old. She's never been spanked. We've never had disciplinary problems with her.
Don't worry, she's saving it up.
Yeah, well, she's 13, so you know what's going to happen next.
Oh, yeah.
Well, she was just a little kid just like the other day, and now she's like a teen.
It's almost as tall as me, man. I'm 6'2".
Yeah,
well, you're about to hit that difficult part of fatherhood where she's going to, I don't know what the rules in your house are, but she's probably going to want to start dating soon. And that's just going to make your life miserable. He really loves me. He said this about me. She took my boyfriend. It's going to be, oh, I don't know if your daughter's a dramatic type, but you know, it could get that way, and it will.
Yeah.
At least a little bit.
Oh, my God.
What do they say? When they're 6 years old, you can't get them to stop talking, and when they're 16, you can't get them to start?
Stop.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Drift0r, are you guys going to have any little baby gamers?
We decided not to for now. Not ready financially. My mother calls weekly asking when I'm going to have grandchildren, what they're going to be. And they called, and if they're going to be black or not. And
you have that. You're having the same problem I had when my wife and I got married. We waited 10 years. And it was the best thing we did because we did a lot of partying in those 10 years.
Yeah, so we live well, but now we're not doing that now. I got other.
Well, there's time. My dad didn't have me until my dad was born in 1918. You know, he didn't have me. Yeah, my dad was born in 1918.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. My grandpa was born in 1870 something.
No, it's statistically improbable that you are not a special needs child.
I think maybe I am. Could you diagnose me, please?
No, like at that age, the likelihood of a healthy birth just goes way down.
Well, aren't men supposedly fertile till whenever, right? Women aren't fertile in their 40s and 50s, or especially not 50s.
It's worse right? It's worse on women, but my understanding is that there's more chance of genetic error as you get older.
Your swimmers get a little freaky.
So yeah. I'm the product of some sort of maladjusted, mutated sperm.
I think that's an exaggeration, but technically true.
And yet, I actually speak and clean myself and feed myself with a fork.
Well, we can train monkeys to do that.
Well, we could also train them to throw their poopy.
Do that on their own.
So speaking of monkeys, it's like, you know what, the TV show that I'm really loving right now is The New Cosmos.
I haven't seen it yet.
You haven't seen it?
I don't watch very much TV.
I don't either.
Well, yeah, I know. But it's Neil deGrasse Tyson, man.
I figure I'll wait until they're all pirated and put on YouTube and probably watch them there, or hit Netflix, which won't be too long.
Right. Well, it's really good. It's very sciencey. Very sciencey. So you're kind of sciencey.
I have a degree in one of, I guess, engineering is a science, like a crash course in all the sciences.
So you're an engineer, right?
I have a degree in engineering.
Well, see, I was gonna tell a joke here. You blew it. So you're an engineer, right?
Okay, yeah.
So where's your train?
Oh man! Whoa!
No, do you want to hear a real engineer joke?
Okay.
Yeah.
So in the colleges, the engineers and the physicists and the mathematicians and the chemists, they don't always get along. They see the world a little bit differently, but similarly enough to where they speak the same language. There's a farmer in Wales. He's got 100 feet of fence, 100, I don't know, yards, doesn't really matter. And he says, I need you to build a fence to keep all my sheep in, but I want to put in as many sheep as possible. Can you use this fence to circle the most, to encompass the most area possible so I can put this fence, to put these sheep in here? So, if, you've been to school, you probably know this problem. It's like, well, what's the most space-efficient shape? The engineer says, you know what? I'm going to build a circle, and he built this circle perfectly round with the fence, and he says, I have constructed the object that has the most area, I win. The physicist comes along and says, I can do a better job. He says, watch this. And he takes the fence and he stretches it across both sides of the horizon to where you can't see one end or the other. And he says, the fence is beyond our observable universe, therefore it is infinite. Put your sheep on this side. I have half the universe. Okay. The mathematician says, no, I can do you one better. He comes along and he takes just, a foot or two of fence, just a tiny little bit, and he builds this basically like cage around himself, and he's all squished in the middle. And he says, I define myself to be on the outside. Everything else is on the inside. You have the most space to put your sheep in there. And thus, that's probably the best way to explain how differently all three think.
That probably absolutely cracks them up to pissing themselves at engineer conventions.
Yes, actually, yes. Because they have to deal with this.
So what made you want to become an engineer?
I wanted to make robots. And I also heard that it was hard. They just told me it was hard, and then I was too stupid to do it.
Oh, wow. So you wanted to build robots. Did you ever see that show? They used to have fighting robots.
BattleBots.
BattleBots that had blades and hammers.
Oh, man, that show is awesome.
All kinds of designs, and there would be ones that would scoop you up and ones that would slam shit on you. It's like, oh, I love that.
It was a good show, but it got canceled.
It did. Now, did you ever think that it's like, hey, if you give me a couple $1,000 and some equipment and some stuff, I could come up with a design for a really kick-ass fighting robot?
Oh, I could. The best ones, though, are the simplest one, the wedges. They're very difficult to beat because of you can't get under them. And you just flip them over, and it's like, deal with it. Other than that, the spin bots were very, very dominant because they could get so much force. Even the wedges, when you hit them, it just smashes that metal. So either one of those would be the way to go.
Right. But the crowd favorites were always the ones that had a hammer that would bang and shit like that, or a vertical saw.
Yeah, it's a skill saw blade mounted on it, and
ultimately those weren't great designs. They were fun designs, but they weren't tactically advantageous for winning the fight.
No.
Right. And also the guy working the robot, has something to do with the success too. If you get a guy who's like got really good reaction, his robot's going to win, all things being equal, over somebody who's kind of slow.
I remember they had one. It was a hammer bot. It was made out of plexiglass, and they called it Ramstein because the hammer had like some chicken feathers on it. And in the second or third season, it got so strong it like hammered through the BattleBot's floor and got stuck.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a good show. They actually taped an episode of it on Treasure Island, which is like, when I go to San Francisco to go to work, there's Treasure Island is halfway across the bridge. You take that exit. And I was this close to going to a taping of it. I don't know why I didn't. I would have had a lot of fun.
I know. Things you don't do.
It is. Well, see, there's a lot of things that you're getting to do that it seems like you get like a dream life. You're sitting pretty.
I am very comfortable and happy where I am right now. Yes. None of these things are permanent. Shit. Yeah. None of these things are permanent, and I'm trying to enjoy what I can while I can. And the most difficult thing to do is to not look at what other people are doing. Like, I'm very happy with what I'm doing, and then I look over at like FPS Russia, and he's shooting bazookas with bikini models. Like, it's very difficult not to do the grass is greener on the other side. That's
true.
Sort of thing.
That's true.
Yeah.
But you know what? Who knows? YouTube might be temporary, but it might lead. Who knows? You could be the next TV guy.
Yes.
Maybe you could get picked up by TV.
Working on that. Trying to get on a show.
See, if you did that, I think you've got a natural, kind of way. Is like, if Ryan Seacrest can do it, come on, Drift0r can do it.
Well, thank you. The unfortunate thing about mainstream TV is they're really particular about looks. And before I would be allowed on TV, I have to fix a couple of things. I have to fix my teeth, which you might not be able to see that from far away. Get here.
Oh my God!
No, but I mean, this is mainstream TV where even your hobos are like Calvin Klein models. You have to have those very high standards. So I have to fix that. Do different things with my hair, and you don't see from the camera. But because I work on the computer, I've got a little bit of a hunch. I've been trying to like work myself back to normal. There's a lot of little things that go with it because. Well, hell, that's why Nixon lost the election, because he was physically unattractive compared to Kennedy, or one of the main reasons.
He had a 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah. But he wasn't aware that would be a thing, because that he was only voice before, not television, and that's the world we live in. So before I get anything going, in the broadcast world, I have to work on all these other issues.
Well, I don't. You're probably going to disagree with me, but I'm going to tell you right now, you sound a little bit like Billy Bob Thornton.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't listen to him speak too often.
Well, he's in a series right now called Fargo that's really, really good. He's a fiendishly evil bad guy who just kills people for nothing.
Isn't that all of it? Isn't that every role he's done?
Anyway, he's a cool guy. He's a badass. He's kind of a skinny. Old. I like the old part, that he's old and he's a badass.
He's good at it.
Yeah.
Well, have we covered it all?
I think we have.
Covered quite a bit. I was supposed to be an hour podcast, and we did 2, and I'm sure that my wife is just waiting for this to be over so we can eat.
Oh my God. Hey,
that's not a big deal.
Sorry. Hey, Drift0r.
No worries.
It's like, that is so cool that you came on and made our 100th episode really special.
Much appreciated.
It'll actually, it gets published Monday morning.
Okay.
So this will give me plenty of time to, get it edited and uploaded and all that good stuff. The only editing, just move the windows around a little bit, put your name underneath and our little title. And to do the freeze frame for the thing. We talked about.
Oh, yeah. That's my mic. My camera's up here.
Yeah. So, if you're still watching Bulletproof Underwear, episode number 100.
Yeah. Fan-fucking-tastic, man.
We'd like to issue an extreme thank you to Drift0r for coming out.
Anytime. Glad to be here.
You bet. And I am your co-host, Yam Juice.
And I'm your co-host, Flex.
So...
There we go.
I see you're a tongue roller.
Careful, man. There's a beverage here.
Okay, there's only one thing left to do is, like, Mr. Flex, take us out and make that bloopy sound.
Bloop.
I'll do it.